Hello friends, welcome to Star Explainer. Tales of Herding Gods Part 403 explains based on novel. So let's start explanation. That belly-band master of creation stopped, turned around, and smiled. Why is the great celestial Venerable Mu wearing children's clothing? Isn't that a red belly band inside? He was the Qin Kai that Qin Mu met in the first year of the Dragon Han era, founding Emperor Qin Yi of the older generations, the great emperor, who opened the founding emperor era, Celestial Venerable Qin of the Heaven Alliance. Back then, Celestial Venerable Qin was a tall and handsome youth with a stubborn quality. Now, he was a middle-aged man that retained that unique quality of his. The reason that Qin Mu was able to recognize the belly-band master of creation immediately was due to his qualities, vibe, and aura, not his appearance. Of course, a clean-shaven man, with some green stubble wearing a red belly band would naturally attract Qin Mu's gaze. The other masters of creation were large, and had a hard time noticing the short infant's appearance, which Qin Mu found easy to do. Passion erupted from Qin Mu's chest. He wanted to walk to him, but founding emperor was too revealing in his clothing, which prevented Qin Mu from hugging him. My clothes are kids' robes, but at least they cover my butt. Qin Mu laughed. The one I'm wearing inside is a real belly band. Founding emperor, yours can't even cover your butt. The two of them walked closer to one another. Founding emperor removed his belly band, and he seemed like he wasn't wearing anything. In reality, he was wearing clothes that were of the same color as his skin, which made his butt look naked. His clothes started to change color, like a chameleon, and soon became a purple-blue robe. Clothes of the heavenly feather race. Qin Mu was shocked. Founding emperor replied, "You know them too. They made me some clothes after I became founding emperor." The clothes beneath Qin Mu's belly band were made by the heavenly feather race too. They were personally tailored by Yu Jiaoqing, and were very fitting. Currently, the heavenly feather world was occupied by a devil race under the celestial heavens, causing the heavenly feather race to pledge allegiance to eternal peace. Yu Jiaoqing wanted to take back the heavenly feather world, but eternal peace lacked the necessary strength to make it doable. Qin Mu came to the side of founding emperor and opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. For a long time, he wanted to meet this old ancestor of his. He had thousands of questions for him and thousands of things to rant to him about. Qin Mu had complicated feelings towards this ancestor. He admired him when he learned that he was his descendant, was hurt when he learned that he gave up on everything to hide in Carefree Village, and wanted recognition when he met him in the first year of the Dragon Han era. Later on, when the eternal peace calamity occurred, founding emperor ordered the 4 great heavenly teachers and 4 great heavenly kings to withdraw, which disappointed Qin Mu. When he reached the celestial heavens, Qin Mu understood founding emperor's decisions again. Now, meeting founding emperor again caused a lot of emotions of his to swell. All sorts of words that he wanted to say seemed unimportant to him now. Nothing was important, not how much he was impressed with him, or how much he wanted to reprimand him, not his admiration, or his disappointment towards him, and not how hurt he felt, or how sympathetic he felt. None of it was important. Qin Mu's gaze was gentle, and his expression was honest as he smiled and asked, "We parted ways for 1,000,000 years, how are you doing now?" Founding emperor's gaze drooped as if he was touched before it was lifted again to meet Qin Mu's eyes. He replied, "It's all right. Sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's pleasing, sometimes it's painful, especially when I have to make hard decisions. However, when I hear news from the outside world, I feel gratified." Qin Mu understood him. The tough periods were the initial periods of the founding emperor era. The pleasing periods were when they grew up and opened up new lands to make people's lives better. The painful and hard decision was when he decided to move to Carefree Village, which meant giving up the lives of the masses he swore to protect. The gratification from news of the outside world occurred when news of Qin Mu reached him. Qin Mu knew that founding emperor was the secluded founding emperor god that controlled the great ruins. Although he was in Carefree Village, he cared a lot about the outside world. Founding emperor's voice was like a resonance that went through one's chest. It was deep and filled with energy. I wasn't able to figure out that the celestial Venerable Mu that broke into the first year of the Dragon Han era with Nyo Sanjuo was my descendant. He couldn't help but laugh. I called you Brother Mu then, which made you blush. You reprimanded me with a stutter, telling me that I couldn't do that. Qin Mu couldn't help but laugh as well. You thought I was arrogant and proud. You didn't know that you were messing with the family hierarchy by doing that. Founding Emperor sank into silence before saying, I'm here to bring you back to Carefree Village. My arrival here can fool everyone but Divine King Lang Wo. She will notice soon. Follow me before it's too late. Qin Mu looked at him with a complex gaze before shaking his head. Founding Emperor frowned and patiently said, Your parents are worried about you. They begged me to rescue you. They will only feel assured if you follow me back. Qin Mu shook his head again. Founding Emperor raised his eyebrows. You are still as stubborn, active, arrogant, and rash as before. You're still as immature as before. You didn't change either. Qin Mu laughed. You're still as careful as before. You only want to strike when you have certainty of victory to prevent missing out. Yet you fail to realize that enemies will never give you that certainty. Their gazes met and collided. Both of them felt uncomfortable, as they both felt the other to be as irritating as they were 1,000,000 years ago. Their gazes separated as they looked behind each other. This sense of dread wasn't dread between enemies, it was gentle affection between friends and family. They were family. However, they were intelligent with eternally strong Tao hearts. They wouldn't change their ideas and opinions no matter how hard the other tried. They realized that they were such people, which caused dread between them. They believed the other to be stubborn and desired to punch the other out of their stubbornness. This was the reason that they would constantly fight at the Jade Pool meeting in the first year of the Dragon Han era. Our match remains undecided from that time at the Jade Pool. Founding Emperor sighed, saying, Your stubbornness makes me want to punch you. 1,000,000 years have passed, and I have improved a lot. You're no longer my opponent. You're only 35 or 36 years old now, right? I'm almost 40,000 years old. I have improved a lot from before. Qin Mu extended his palm and his fingers. He looked at him and said, I can beat you if it's in the same realm. Founding Emperor clenched his fists and stared at his fingers. After a while, he loosened his fists and smiled. I won't hold it against you. You're the 107th generation descendant of mine. I won't be provoked by you. It's dangerous for you to stay here. Although Divine King Lang Wo is a lady, she's extremely powerful. If she discovers your true identity, she'll threaten me with it. His smile gradually disappeared. If such a day does come, I won't be threatened. I'll watch her kill you. Qin Mu extended another hand. Both of his hands had their fingers interlocked as he said, Perhaps I can beat you up first. The veins on Founding Emperor's forehead rose as he clenched his fists once more. Qin Mu pulled back his hands and stopped trying to provoke him as he smiled. I'm now the holy infant of the masters of creation. There's no need to worry about my safety. You can return. Founding Emperor turned around and left, angrily saying, I really want to press you against the ground and beat you up. Qin Mu laughed heartily. I have already fought many of the 10 celestial venerables of the celestial heavens. I'm fine with fighting you too. Founding Emperor leaped into the sky. Outside the Green Feather Temple, Divine King Lang Wo's expression changed, and her figure suddenly disappeared. She soon appeared in the vast parameter sky above, looking forward quietly. In front, a middle-aged emperor stood in the sky. His chest violently jiggled as he turned around to look at her. Qin Mu. Divine King Lang Wo coldly laughed. Traitorous fellow. Why don't you run now that you've been discovered by me? Divine King, I'm in a bad mood. I hereby seek a fight, please grant me that wish. Thief Qin, you think I'm afraid? Qin Mu walked to the side of Shu Jun's head and opened the eye in the heart of his brows. A beam of light shot out and shone on Shu Jun, pulling him back into the grand primordium origin stone. He said, if I use my consciousness, essence, and blood to recover your head, can you recover your own corporeal body? It's a bit difficult, but not impossible. I just need to seal the blood vessels in the skulls to form a self-recycling system, to ensure my survival before slowly cultivating to accumulate consciousness. Then, I'll attempt to visualize my corporeal body. Shu Jun's consciousness became a voice that rang in his head. He asked, who was that infant master of creation with stubble that I saw you chasing after? Qin Mu didn't answer him and utilized the Overlord Body 3 elixir technique to supply consciousness, essence, and blood to him. Shu Jun questioned no more and quickly absorbed the consciousnesses, essence, and blood. He constructed his own head via the sacrificial altar in the origin stone. At that moment, a loud rumble came from the heavens. Qin Mu looked up and saw the void there becoming extremely bright and hot. Two terrifying waves came like two great emperors fighting with their ultimate strength. Could it be Founding Emperor and Divine King Lang Wo? Qin Mu's heart fluttered. With Founding Emperor's capabilities, Divine King Lang Wo wouldn't be able to chase after him. So why did he choose to fight instead of leaving? Could he really be angry? Qin Mu shook his head. If we were in another place, he would have beaten me up. However, it's good that he's letting his anger out. The masters of creation on the landmass were shaken. Xiaozhong, Qin Mu, and the other chiefs led the elders into the air to join up with Divine King Lang Wo to work together to remove Thief Qin. The heavens were filled with action. Qin Mu wanted to jump in and spectate, but he was somewhat unwilling since he was supplying his essence, blood, and consciousness to Shu Jun. Founding Emperor has 33 heavens in one sword and was nicknamed the number 1 sword path. Meanwhile, I have the number 1 sword skill. I really want to go up against him. He was unexpectedly excited within. The battle in the heavens lasted for 2 to 3 hours before beams of light descended, landing on the ground, one of which circled around in the air before landing in the Green Feather Temple. How's the battle going? Qin Mu was about to head to the temple to ask that when Qin Mu saw him and asked, "Are you sick? Why are you so skinny?" Qin Mu was about to explain when Qin Mu quickly retrieved her clan's holy object, the 7-soul grass, saying, "It can heal and revive people. Just bite its stem, and you can recover." 7-soul grass, heal the holy infant. The grass wasn't very happy and slowly extended a stem. It was clearly unwilling to let its stem be bitten. Qin Mu quickly said, "I was just voluntarily supplying essence, blood, and consciousness to Divine King Shu Jun to help him recover his corporeal body. I'm not sick. I also have concentrated primordial liquid here to quickly recover my own essence and blood. There's no need for it." The grass quickly took back its stem and twirled around. A few leaves on its head fluttered. Qin Mu asked, "Concentrated primordial liquid? What's that?" Qin Mu retrieved a jade bottle and opened it. Qin Mu smelled it and praised, "So it's called concentrated primordial liquid. Your knowledge is vast, holy infant." Qin Mu was stunned and probed her, "You've seen it before. This is the water we used to water the holy objects. We had a lot in the past." Now, not so much, for it's stored away by the divine king. Qin Mu's heart pounded. According to Mother Earth, the liquid was a unique and special liquid that she used to root herself and nourish herself and her roots. It was like a light liquid, very energetic and filled with energy. Mother Earth relied on opening it to become an ancient god. It was unexpected that the masters of creation in the parameter world had it too. Qin Mu said, the concentrated primordial liquid came from a pool in the ancestral court. It was good looking. Then, all of the clans came to take it to water their various holy objects, so less and less of it remained. I heard that when the Jew clan migrated, they took all of it away from the pool. Afterward, they just sat there and enjoyed life. Now, there's little of the liquid left. You are the holy infant. If you want it, find the divine king, as the remaining liquid is with her. She looked around and whispered, if you get some of it, give me some. Our clan's 7-soul grass is sick and lacking in vitality. Qin Mu nodded his head repeatedly. Qin Mu was happy and flew away riding a large white silkworm, to continue preparing the grand ritual. Oops, I forgot to ask her about the state of the battle. Qin Mu walked towards the green feather temple, thinking, if I ask divine King Lang Wo about it, she should tell me. Speaking of that, the masters of creation are quite ancient. They should have a lot of treasures and be extremely rich. The primordial liquid, ground primordium origin stone, and ground primordium divine stone. They have so many of these treasures that the younger generations have a hard time finding. They should have other precious treasures too then. Since I am the holy infant, these treasures. The green feather temple was actually a large temple with wings. On the sides of it were wings made out of flesh with green feathers. It was capable of flight. Such uniquely marvelous structures were almost impossible to find outside. Yet in the parameter world of the masters of creation, there were many such buildings. For example, masters of creation would visualize buildings with legs for ease of relocation. They also visualized plants with a bull's body to grow leaves that absorbed the sun's energy to create meat. Qin Mu walked to the front of the temple and carefully sized up the wings. He saw that the joints between the wings and the halls were made with a perfect blend of rock and flesh, which impressed him. The divine king would like to invite the holy infant into the temple. The phoenix at the door ruffled its feathers and said to Qin Mu. Qin Mu thanked it and followed it into the temple. The temple was tall and vast, and it made people walking within it feel minuscule and fearful. Qin Mu, however, was used to seeing the grand buildings of the masters of creation, and followed the rainbow phoenix quickly. The fact that divine King Lang Wo summoned him to the back halls instead of the front surprised him. The temple was so large that Qin Mu followed the phoenix for quite a while before they reached the back halls. Sister, why haven't you morphed into a human? Qin Mu asked. That phoenix with beautiful feathers turned around and curiously asked, morph into a human? Do you mean morphing into a master of creation? Qin Mu thought about it and nodded. The appearances of the masters of creation were similar to humans, but they were taller and had a hexagonal-shaped eye at the heart of their brows. The rainbow phoenix shook its head. I was visualized, and I cannot cultivate nor morph myself. When I was visualized, I was bound by my own power. Qin Mu's brain boomed and shook his head. Could you repeat yourself, sister? The phoenix repeated itself, saying, being bound by my own power makes it hard for me to change. I can't open divine treasures nor use consciousness to cultivate. However, I can upgrade my blazing holy fire's power. Qin Mu groggily mumbled, your form resembles that of the ancient gods. The divine king is in front. The rainbow phoenix led him to the back hall, and Qin Mu saw divine King Lang Wo picking up water by the pool to cleanse her wounds. Her shoulder belts were loose as her shoulder was injured. Long, bloody scars scarred it. Founding Emperor must have injured her. Her long hair was like a waterfall with glistening water that reflected bright light. The scene took Qin Mu's breath away. Qin Mu's breathing hastened as a result. The pool was filled with the primordial liquid. What a large pool! It was a pool to the masters of creation, but to Qin Mu, it was a lake. The entire lake was filled with the primordial liquid. He really wanted to rush in and jump straight into the pool. You're barely 3 years of age, yet your heart beats so violently when you see a lady's shoulder. Divine King Lang Wo saw him and lifted her shirt to cover her shoulder before asking him that. Qin Mu forced himself to retract his gaze from the pool, choosing instead to glance at it with curiosity. Divine King Lang Wo then realized that it was the pool, not her, that made his heart pound so violently. She instinctively gave off a weird expression, waved her hand, and dismissed the phoenix. She then said, "Please follow me, holy infant." Qin Mu followed her and kept looking back at the glistening pool of primordial liquid. It gave off a mesmerizing glow that tempted him. After a few steps, her body shrunk to his size. Her hair covered her shoulders and had a dark glow to it as if it still wasn't dry. Was this beautiful hair of yours washed with the primordial liquid? Qin Mu was extremely envious. The liquid is really nice. I want to have such a large pool of it too. Her dress covered her legs, and when she walked, Qin Mu could barely see it. She was barefoot, and her feet were beautiful to Qin Mu. These legs were washed with the primordial liquid too, right? It looks really nice. Qin Mu looked back at the primordial liquid pool while thinking about that. Divine King Lang Wo stopped, and Qin Mu almost collided into her. He stopped hastily. Divine King Lang Wo vaguely smiled and said, "You seem to be more interested in that pool than me. A guy like you is rare. Before I was a divine king, many masters of creation ogled me. They tried all sorts of tricks to woo me. It wasn't until I became a divine king that they stopped. Yet, you seem to be more interested in that pool." Qin Mu probed her. "If I was interested in you, what would you do?" "Cut you open, of course." Divine King Lang Wo lifted her hand and explained, "I would cut your nerve that decides what's right or wrong. You're only 3, yet you have such thoughts already. How are you supposed to be the holy infant? If I cut you, you would spend all of your energy on comprehension and cultivation, which would allow you to lead us to get revenge against the Grand Emperor." Qin Mu was shocked and said solemnly, "Divine King, this is why I like that pool. I'm only 3, so even if you're enchanting and charming, I won't have any weird thoughts." Divine King Lang Wo revealed a smile and continued walking forward. She softly said, "Don't be scared, as long as you think for us, I won't do anything to you. After all, you are the holy infant in our prophecy." Qin Mu followed her quickly, interrupting her, "Are you injured, and is it serious? Who hurt you? I'm skilled in medicine. If you don't mind, you can take off your clothes so I can heal you. In the parameter world, the only being who can hurt me is founding Emperor Qin Yi." Divine King Lang Wo continued, "Although he injured me, he suffered too. He'll have to stay in bed for several days after returning in order to recover. As for my injury, you can't heal it, only the pool can." She fell into silence for a little bit before saying, "However, the pool is finite, and will be gone eventually. When I get injured then, there will be nothing to treat me." Qin Mu hesitated, not knowing whether he should ask for some of it. "If you like it, go get some of it for yourself later." Divine King Lang Wo seemed to have read his mind as she said, "This pool isn't mine, after all, it's ours. I just took it for myself. You are the holy infant, so you can use the pool water." Qin Mu expressed his thanks. Divine King Lang Wo continued, "You came here to probe about founding Emperor Qin Yi's injury by beating around the bush, right? You aren't here to inquire about my injury. You aren't here to ask me to impart consciousness divine arts to you either, right? Qin Mu felt apprehensive. Divine King Lang Wo parted the flowers and walked forward, saying, "You are related to him. I felt that the blood in your body is related to his. You came here to search for him, not us, who are hiding in seclusion." She stopped herself and turned around to look at Qin Mu before saying, "You foolishly became our holy infant. You felt that it was an opportunity, so you stayed instead of going with Qin Yi." She was visibly calm. Qin Mu sized up her face carefully, but he couldn't see what lay beneath this pretty face of hers. "That's right, founding emperor came here to look for me. After I refused him, he left angrily and fought you." Qin Mu honestly said, "Truth be told, I have a name in the outside world. I came to the Great Void to look for Carefree Village, and incidentally ended up here, at Carefree Village's enemy's base. Unexpectedly, I became the Holy Infant. However, the most unexpected thing is how pretty and intelligent you are. How do you plan to deal with me, Divine King?" Divine King Lang Wo turned around and continued going forward, saying, "Deal with you? I will only get rid of you when you harm us. Then, I'll make a new holy infant." Qin Mu felt a chill run down his spine. At that moment, he felt a familiar aura summoning him, and he couldn't help but walk faster. Divine King Lang Wo laughed. "You felt that?" Qin Mu restrained the thought of chasing the temptation. "What's in front?" The Grand Primordium Origin Stone, also known as the Ancestor Spirit World. Divine King Lang Wo continued forward, laughing. "It's the entrance to the Ancestor Spirit World." Qin Mu followed her, and the summoning aura became stronger. The Masters of Creation, who built this world, brought some Grand Primordium Origin Stone fragments. They were supposed to be on the Grand Emperor's forehead, but it was broken, and only some of the fragments were collected. A light came from the front, and Divine King Lang Wo walked towards it, saying, "When they opened this world, they exhausted their energy, and couldn't keep their souls. They saw the writing on the wall, so they combined themselves with the Grand Primordium Origin Stone, becoming the Ancestor Spirit World." Qin Mu saw a rift in spacetime in front, which was where the light was coming from. The rift was hexagonal-shaped like the eye in the heart of the Masters of Creation's brows. Additionally, the eye grew bigger. The Ancestor Spirit World was hidden in the deepest part of the Parameter World. When we die, our consciousness will be led by it to enter it. Divine King Lang Wo said, "We experienced several extinction events and barely survived. The Ancestor Spirit World is our last chance at securing our inheritance. However, this grand offering's purpose is to let your real body enter the Ancestor Spirit World. Thus, we have to summon it first." She seriously looked at Qin Mu, saying, "There are still 2 days left before you can enter it. In these 2 days, you have to prepare a speech to move the spirit ancestors. Or else, you will die there. This will be the last test for you to become the Holy Infant." Part 403 end here. Thank you for watching.